How did you feel before you started?
I felt really ill before I started. I just felt out of breath, I felt tired, like physically exhausted, I had no energy, I just wanted to go to sleep, like just doing small tasks was just hard work all the time. And I just felt I've got to change, as something's going to happen, I'm going to get really ill. And I was angry because I'd let myself get to this point, and I just thought I've got to do something about this now before it really is too late.
Okay, so what changes have you made in your life since you started?
Well, I'm coming to training once a week with Nicola, and that's been really good. Slowly just building up my strength and my stamina. We're really working on a bit more of my fitness now to try and increase that so I can persevere a bit longer. But that's been really good. I went from basically hardly being able to do one core exercise to now I can sit and do it three, I can do 4 or 5, I can pick up the weights, I can do the kettlebells. I think, so that's been a massive change in how I feel. So I feel better in myself, I move better. I've changed things like chemicals, I've been trying to reduce those, so shampoos, body creams. I'm trying not to buy processed food too much, trying to just buy, good food, like and nice meat and nice vegetables, and just trying to eat better. If I want to make a cake, try and bake a cake rather than buy a cake, so at least I know what's in it that way. So they're some of the biggest changes. I've also been reading a lot more because I found for a long time, I think, getting stuck in things like technology, things like smartphones, that I hadn't been reading. I used to read loads, and over the last few years I hadn't been reading, so that's been a big change, that I've started to try and make time to sit down and just read a book, whether it be just something that's easy to read or something that might help with my development and help me understand where I've been coming from.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge in making these changes?
I think my biggest challenge is my mind. I think because I had this knowledge of food, I've done diets, I've learned lots about nutrition, and I understand what's good and what's bad. But for some reason, I wasn't following that advice. I knew it was like my mind was just completely blocked. And I think the biggest thing that I've had and been doing is working on my mindset, reading books, trying to understand why I felt so bad about myself, and I used to say awful things to myself. I would talk really badly, and I've stopped doing that. And it's hard to accept sometimes to start with. It feels strange when you say, yes, I am enough, I am okay, and there's nothing wrong with you. And that's quite difficult to start with, and it can make you feel quite upset. But I think over time, being consistent with that, and if those little thoughts come into my head, I said, no, don't say that. That's not true. You have to accept who you are, and by that way, I think you realise then the things that you want to work at, but not in a way that you're being horrible to yourself, but in a way that you can say, well, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be a better version of me, rather than, oh, you're awful. And I think that's been my biggest challenge, is really working on my mindset and sort of unblocking this thing that I had, that, I had this image of myself that I had to be this person, and, you beat yourself up because you're not in this image. And I'm starting to accept that that's, we can't be somebody that's not real. We just have to be us and just continue to work on a better us.
So what would you have to say to other ladies that might be thinking about doing some personal training?
I think just absolutely go for it. Find somebody that you can work with, find somebody that you really get on with, that understands you, that you can talk to, and open up to that person. It's difficult when you don't know somebody to start with, to sort of talk about things that you probably keep to yourself quite a lot. But by doing that, you start to develop who you are. For a long time, I think, you go around pleasing people, you're doing everything for other people, and you forget who you are. So I think it's not just like about personal training and coming and getting fit. For me, it's been like hugely much more than that. I've changed my mindset, I'm feeling better about myself. I'm not worrying about I haven't lost all this weight. I'm just taking it one day at a time, and slowly I'm losing weight. and slowly I'm getting fitter, but mentally I'm getting fitter. So, you know, just go for it. You know, working with Nicola has been absolutely really easy. There's been no frills, no, you know, sugar coating. It's just been completely honest and completely supportive.